Today's show is sponsored by ExpressVPN, one-click protection for all your devices. Securing yourself could not be easier. Visit expressvpn.com/funhaus.
Hey everybody, welcome to Filmhaus. This week we are talking about Dune, which just got a new trailer. The movie comes out October 22nd, 2021, from Denis Villeneuve, who you know from Arrival, Sicario, Prisoners, Enemy, Incendie, Blade Runner 2049. It's composed by Hans Zimmer, so a lot of Brahms in it. And it is the first of possibly two movies. We don't know yet. We'll talk about that later. And it stars Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Oscar Isaac, Stellan Skarsgård, Rebecca Ferguson, Jason Momoa. It's a stacked cast. And it's, of course, a feature adaptation of Frank Herbert's 1965 science fiction novel about the son of a noble family who is entrusted with the protection of the most valuable asset and vital element in the galaxy, the spice melange. It's been adapted in the past. We'll talk about those a little bit, too, because to this point, it hasn't really had a successful film adaptation. It's generally considered a failure. So this is a big gamble. And just disclosure, this movie is from Warner Brothers, which is our parent company at Rooster Teeth. And these opinions, though, are our own. Except Charlotte's are also mine.
Yeah, and we're in the movie.
One mind. But I am joined
and
today
I'm always in Charlotte's ear telling her what to think.
Yeah, it's like
That's
worm
not
tongue.
Yeah.
I joined today. I'm Elise, and I'm joined by Patrick, Charlotte, and Daniel. Hey, everybody.
Hey. Hello.
Hi, Elise.
And these are
Elise. Elise is the mind killer.
Yes, and I know exactly what that means. And we all do. We know exactly what everything
When Elise
means.
is gone, only we will remain.
Only Patrick remains. He who controls the Dan.
So, first of all, what's everyone's background with Dune? Because I have seen the David Lynch 1984 film with Kyle MacLachlan, which was a big box office dud. That's my experience.
But also a classic.
Yeah. How can you?
I didn't say it wasn't a classic. I just said it was a box office dud.
It was.
Patrick Stewart. You love that guy.
Yeah,
I do.
Sting.
He's the most important character.
And Sting, you love that guy.
Yeah, you love Sting.
The wrestler.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah, there's Sting.
looking a little worse.
Apparently that codpiece that he wore in the movie was like a last second addition that they were planning to have him naked and shoot around it. And they're like, we can't do that. We'll give him this codpiece.
Really?
If they were going to shoot around it anyway, why have him naked?
I don't know.
Oh, David. Oh,
you got,
cool.
You got young Sting on set.
Yeah.
young.
That would have been awesome.
So what is everyone's
my
experience?
history with Dune? I read it maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, and then watched the movie like a year or two ago. The David Lynch movie a year or two ago. Really loved the book. That movie's kind of trash. I watched that miniseries on double speed on YouTube a couple of months ago. There's the codpiece.
Yeah, Sci-Fi did a mini-series, right?
Yeah, and
it
was so bad that I really cranked it up to double speed and kind of clicked around through it. Just because I was hyped about this movie coming up. I was like, I need more Dune in my life, and I can't read that book again right now. But yeah, that book's incredible. I always called him Herbert because he's American, but maybe it's
is he?
Herbert.
Oh, I thought it was Herbert, but
Herbert.
Washington.
Oh, okay, Herbert. Yeah,
But that's okay.
I think you can kind of see us all go.
Kirby.
Frank
Herbert. When you
Herbert.
say Herbert.
Frank Herbert. Frank Sherbert.
All at once, we all kind of just,
I'm
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that book's amazing, and you can't argue with the influence it had. We could talk about it at some point, but I think George Lucas ripped off Star Wars from Dune.
No.
amongst
just
other things.
went somewhere.
Amongst other things.
A knife
What?
just
No.
pierced Jacob's heart, and he goes, "Ah!"
Mhm. Well, that can't be true because Dune is set in the future, and Star Wars is a long, long time ago.
Yeah,
Oh.
so far away
yeah.
too.
Right
you got
away, just
You got
totally off base. Yeah. Anyway,
Patrick,
Charlotte?
you've read this book?
Yeah,
Charlotte's
I've
reading
read
it.
I think I've read Dune twice. I read it once when I was like in high school or something, and then I read it again maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. I've seen the David Lynch movie a couple times, and I've seen the Oh yeah,
You're the
I've seen it more than once. Yeah. This is all stuff that, like, especially in quarantine. I mean, I didn't reread Dune in quarantine, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff recently that I've been like rereading that I read in high school, because I churn Kama Sutra, The Art of Sex,
The King James Bible.
Scarlet Letter.
others. I go through books very like quickly and then on to the next thing. So I feel like a lot of stuff that I'll have, like, I know I've read something and I remember liking it, and I might remember like a specific or two, but if pressed, I could not tell you a single detail from that
Patrick,
thing.
I'm exactly the same way. I think we're inundated by so much. We consume so much.
Yes.
I generally remember how things made me feel.
Yeah. Same. Exact same.
Yeah.
Or like
I
just said, a detail or two, because it makes me feel a little bad, because I'm like consuming all this material, and then like a month later I'm like, I don't remember anything about.
You make it feel like it's less.
I read it for 2 months, but I don't remember anything.
Yeah. Patrick, how did it make you feel?
It made me feel great when I was a kid. It's really cool. It's not like anything that existed at that time. I don't know. It's definitely very influential. So if you read it now, it might not seem like this, revolutionary sci-fi book or anything like that. But I think at the time it was.
I mean, I think that's because it's been ripped so much.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
I think people are so influenced by it. It's like permeated sci-fi zeitgeist or whatever.
Well, Patrick, it's so funny you should say that, because I am reading it right now.
I also watched the miniseries. That's the last thing I'll say. And it does suck. It's bad.
And Charlotte, don't think it's so special. Is that correct?
What's that?
You don't think it's good? Is that what you were going to say?
No, I wasn't going to say that at all. I think I like it a lot. I don't know what I said that would make you think that.
It's just the way you looked.
Oh, okay. First, wait, where did the... That's just, I have resting, conflicting thoughts about Dune face. But it doesn't actually reflect my thoughts towards it. Yeah, when I heard Denis was making this, I had never read the book or seen the movie or watched the miniseries. But Arrival's like my all-time favorite movie. So, and I really liked what he did with Blade Runner. So, yeah. Okay.
I didn't like that movie.
Well, I did.
I didn't like Arrival.
Actually.
I mean, that's fine.
We can talk about that on the Count Arrival to down to Arrival.
Yeah, Talking Arrival, our new weekly podcast about Arrival.
Yeah. It's just Patrick and I arguing.
Yeah.
No, but I love Arrival so much. And so when I found out he was doing Dune, I was like, oh, I got to read this. And like, I love sci-fi, and I love like really big, really big world building efforts where it's just you're constantly, it's a flurry of proper nouns and none of them mean anything.
No,
that is this book for sure.
Yeah,
there's so much scope here.
I know, and then you get further into it, and you're like, well, of course I know the Spice Melange, the Bene Gesserit witches, the Gom Jabbar, the Harkonnens, beautiful, beautiful nephew Fade Ralpha. But
it's funny because like the only series that like lives up to that promise is Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the only one where like it's one guy who did this whole thing and it's expansive. It's like from the beginning of time.
Well, you have to remember that was a man that created a language and said, I guess I better write some books because I made this language.
Yes,
right.
for sure.
This language, this elvish language I created, I need a whole world for it.
That's inhuman.
And then,
everything else, the same thing. There's like
he
20
did
Dune books,
kind of,
right?
but
Son.
No, he only wrote 7 of them.
Only
a paltry 7.
That's a lot, I know, but like he wrote 7. Well,
Patrick,
and as far as I know, did not create a language. Just the first one. I've only read the first one.
What if I told you, Patrick, that this movie might not even make it through? Well, it might not. It won't even make it through that first book.
Ooh,
really?
So disappointed if that doesn't happen.
Big disappointment.
I'll walk.
Well,
I'll leave this podcast.
We're gonna talk about the trailer. Don't worry, and our reactions to that. But one of the things I find like super fascinating about this, in the conversation of, so many of these big sci-fi movies come out and nobody goes to see them, and their box office failures, or even if they make enough money or some money, it's not enough to justify it. They're not making Marvel numbers. And when Villeneuve was like coming onto this movie, he said, I would not agree to make this adaptation of the book with one single movie. The world is too complex. It's a world that takes power in its details. So he said, I want to do 2 movies. But part 2 hasn't even been like officially greenlit. So we all need to go see Dune.
Yeah.
Everybody, we need to all get our Funhaus army and mobilize.
Everyone bring 3 friends and have those 3 friends bring 3 friends.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the really tragic part is like this movie, it's going to be really awesome. It's going to be so good, and it's not going to make whatever $500 million that whatever their cut rate is to make a sequel.
It'll be profitable.
It'll never make
not
that much
enough
money,
or whatever. Yeah.
So it's going to be half of a movie. So people that are like coming to Dune for the first time are going to be all fucking pissed because it stops like halfway through the story.
True.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be really sad because it's going to be awesome. I think Denis, like makes really amazing films.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think there's any universe where this makes the $1 billion that it needs to have. I love pictures of people directing. They always look so pretentious.
Yeah, I mean,
especially like sci-fi shit.
He's saying like shoot around the codpiece. To this guy.
He's saying, can we get the codpiece off?
I like his army. I like his camo pants and like Iraq war scarf. That's cool.
It's cool soldier scarf.
Director drip is nuts.
He might be. I don't know if he's like at all like part Middle Eastern, because I don't know if any of you have seen Incendie, which was like one of his first movies, which is about a woman who is or I think it's like twins maybe, that like they're half French Canadian and then half
French
Lebanese. I forget what middle part of the Middle East they're from, but then like she goes back to like uncover kind of the secrets of her mother's life. It was like big in Canada at the time because it was a French Canadian movie, so it was like all over Canadian, the movie network and stuff. But he might I don't know.
Well, Dune
camo pants in that movie?
Dune is very influenced by
very much
Middle Eastern and Islamic religion and stuff.
However, I have seen some think pieces like that are criticizing it because they feel like it's neutering it of that.
I'm sure,
the movie.
Yeah. Well, no, at the end of the trailer, I mean, I that woman screaming, blah, 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 you know, it's Middle Eastern.
Yeah,
that's representation.
Yeah, exactly.
It is kind of. I mean, there's definitely some white savior.
I mean, that's the biggest problem with the story in general. Is that's the
it's
the
not
crux of the story.
Avatar like.
Yeah, it relies on a white boy to save the universe, who's magically special.
Except wasn't the whole thing that they were trying to rally, or wasn't the whole thing that he was trying to rally against his protagonist not being that like that Christ
Denis
savior?
Or Herbert or Bear?
Herbert. Because I was kind of just reading about this and how like that was one of the failures of the Lynch adaptation, was it did rather like opposed to the text, it did make Kyle MacLachlan that character, which was not the point of what he intended him to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in the book about prescience and future, and so like you could say
he's definitely a
that,
chosen one.
He's a Messiah.
He sees the jihad coming.
He sees the jihad. So like, I
which
think
happens in later books.
I guess, but like, I guess that he lays the groundwork that it might not be a great thing that he's the leader of this. I don't know. I'm like so close to the end of the book. I had like a flight back from the east where I just like burned through the last like quarter, but like this shit has already popped off with the Emperor and everything. No spoilers for the book and the movie. You definitely won't see that in the movie. But I think you can make like an argument. I don't know. The book has aged in some ways, but also is like scarily like feels current in others. Like the technology, even just like the way he wrote it in the 70s, right? Early 70s.
Yeah.
Like it holds up in a way that I did not expect.
I don't know if this was like intentional, but the reason that it's still that works so well is because like within the lore of the series, there's this thing called, what is it, like the Butlerian Jihad or something? Yeah, right?
Where they kill all the machines?
Yes. So they kill, basically there's at some point an AI or something, like this is way in the far, like 10,000 years in the past of Dune, of the book. There's like some kind of machine war where they basically kill all the AI and computers and eliminate that, and it's been outlawed ever since.
Yeah, it's like against the law to have smart machines.
Yes, exactly. So all the machines are stupid, which is why you need the navigators or the Navigators Guild or whatever it's called. They got to be spiced up. That's why spice is so important. But it works because then you're not seeing like a computer that's a black screen with green text.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's a book, so you wouldn't see that anyway. But like old sci-fi, there's some weird shit with computers where it's like, why do you have 9 devices that I can do on a phone?
Well, this is a great like point to start talking about the trailer, because one of the first things you see in the trailer is the ornithopters.
Ornithopter.
Ornithopters.
There you go.
Sure, yeah.
Which are like, they kind of look like they're like these sort of organic helicopters. They look like dragonflies, right?
Yeah.
I think that's one thing I find really interesting about Dune is like the technology isn't like you were saying, he doesn't push it to be like hyper crazy futuristic stuff. Like there's nothing sci-fi with the technology in the book that like you attach to like any of the technology. Like there's none of this like super predictive stuff. It's just like, okay, there's a ship, they have shields. Like, none of it's like we have laser swords and crazy guns, and like that's just not an important part of the science fiction in this story. I don't know.
There's a couple rules that they hold hard and fast too, like the way shields work, and then that's pretty much geopolitical.
Yeah,
like
that's more
environmentalism
to me.
Yeah,
the trailer's so sick.
The trailer's great.
Good. I have watched the second one that just came out. I have watched it so many times.
The second one's super good. I did. Yeah. You always picture things in your mind. But I guess, Jason Momoa comes out in that flight suit and it's like, oh, they're like going hard realism on this spaceship guy. Like he's in a jet flight suit. He's not wearing some sort of, robes or whatever a Jedi would wear. He's I don't know. It's definitely going in the hard realism version of science fiction, which I think is maybe one of Denis' strengths. But is maybe controversial. Sure. It's like it's drab, it's gray, everything's brown and green and camo like instead of.
I think that makes the eyes sparkle all the more against the drab landscape.
I did see somebody online that was like, "This movie looks so joyless," and it's like, shut up.
Well, but
what do you want?
To me, that's the idea, is because like Arrakis is this place that has been ravaged,
brutal.
But then you see it like at one point in the trailer. They are on the Caladan, which is where like they've been living, right?
The
Atreides have been, and it's like Caladan's like this lush, beautiful planet, and I think it's supposed to be like, oh no, this place has been like just war torn by all these factions that are fighting over this resource. Like it's supposed to be bleak.
Yeah.
You mentioned Jason Momoa, who is Duncan Idaho, which is totally a character that Keanu Reeves would have played in 1993.
Yeah.
Yes,
a man named Duncan. Yeah, Duncan Idaho and Johnny Utah.
That name on a random name generator.
Yes,
but there's like
Jimmy Vermont.
There's a little fight scene with him in the trailer that like looks pretty cool. Like,
is that the one where he's flying with a knee at a guy?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how that works. He just kind of flies for a minute.
There he is.
I saw people like online, or maybe you told me this, Patrick, where people were like, I don't know about this casting, and I'm not sure if Jason Momoa is aware of what an important character Duncan Idaho is and what a commitment that is to the films. And I was like, I think it's fine. I think we're okay. The guy was in Game of Thrones. I think he's fine to do a major role. It's like, what kind of concern? I don't know about this Momoa. I don't think he's really aware of the
Jason Momoa. I don't know if he's a good actor or not, but he's the most charming dumb guy out there right now.
Exactly. And he just oozes that charisma. It's like Rock style. He's not, The Rock's not necessarily a great actor, but he just kind of, his charisma oozes out of his body on the screen.
Yeah. Absolutely. He's like best friends with his wife's ex-husband. Like, you don't get much cooler than that.
That's
gonna be pretty chill.
Serious. Yeah, exactly. He's so cool.
So Charlotte, and this is actually a spoiler for anyone that's like reading the entire Dune book series, but if you're worried about a spoiler, but maybe where people are coming from with that Jason Momoa's commitment to the story is that like he ends up becoming the protagonist in like book 6 or something like that.
That's what I figured would be like,
which they will not make.
They're not going to get that far now.
We're not even going to get part 2 of
Denis has said that part 2 will be 6 movies.
Yeah. Even though it's like 150 pages long.
Yeah, I'm so close to the end of the book. I read it in spurts, and like I've jumped off to other books, and I've been reading it basically for a year and a half or so, maybe 2 now.
The commitment.
And like, yeah, and like so So as soon as I heard it was 2 movies, I was like, that makes sense. There's a huge
Thank
demarcation point in the middle. It shifts completely, and I think that's gonna make for. I'll be really disappointed if a part 2 doesn't get made.
Same.
However,
But
I think there'll be a satisfying enough arc if we just get to the middle point, and if I have to live with that, I will live with that. But I think it's a conclusion enough to that part of the book, sort of the Duke's storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was one of the huge issues with that Lynch adaptation, is that it was just trying to jam too much story into like a 2-hour movie. It's just like way too much. So I think 2 movies was definitely the way to go. I think we're all really going to have to get our,
and it's
everyone we know to go see this movie so we can get part 2.
Yeah.
I'll see it twice.
It's not a short book either. It's like, it's not the longest thing in the world, but it's like a good 500 or 600 pages, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a long book.
And long.
It is crazy when you realize, if you've ever like read something very short that ends up being adapted into a movie, and it's like the movie is able to cover literally everything. And I'm trying to think of an example, because there's one thing in particular, and I can't remember what it was now, where it was like a novella or a short story or something. No, not The Hobbit. Where it was like literally adapted into one movie. Every single thing from the story was in it. And I looked at the book and it was like, I mean, maybe it was 100 pages.
Maze Runner.
It was not the Maze Runner.
The Arrival?
It was Maze Runner, The Scorched Trials. I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but it's like the amount of like the book to movie ratio is...
There's a lot of source material.
Holy shit.
But if we can go back to the trailer for a second and talk about some of the cool shit we saw in
trailer,
it. Baron Harkonnen is in it.
He's going to be so
and
good.
we see him on his suspensors, which is this like power lifter. And I know the idea, I mean, I guess there's some...
He like lifts his fat.
Yeah, which is a bit problematic in its portrayal of obesity. But I do think like the thing that the trailer does really cool, which is like, his robes are so long, so you don't see the bottom of it. Like, just makes him all the more menacing.
Yeah, I don't know when it starts.
It's definitely got the like Denis visual eye. Where
that's going to be the most exciting part about this.
Yes,
it's one of those early shots when that ship kind of comes out of some like a sandstorm and it does the Brahm. It's like all of his things happening at once. It's like amazing lighting, crazy sound effects going on. It's like one of those like chill up your spine moments. I think
the soft, like very overexposed light coming from behind, like the room in Arrival.
That's interesting though, because like it's not. I don't think it's Roger Deakins.
No, it's not
doing on the cinematography, but it's definitely somebody approximating Roger Deakins.
Very much a student.
Because it looks a lot like it, but yeah.
I have this theory that Hans Zimmer was like, I make all the sounds sound like Hans. So he's like, Hans.
I never thought about that. It's a good point. I did see somebody bemoaning the fact that Stellan Skarsgård was
he not
they said enough? That he's not a fat person and he's not a gay person. And I get the fat thing, but the gay thing, as far as I remember, he's exclusively a pedophile.
Yeah.
Which is not...
In the book, that's what I remember.
He's a big
I don't know
if young boys.
You're not going to go find a pedophile to cast.
I don't know. We need a pedophile actor to fill. I also don't think it's great to call pedophilia gay. I don't know.
No.
It seems like a...
I don't remember. Maybe he was gay.
No,
he had a penchant for young boys, I think, is where he's skewed, but I don't think that's representation.
Exclusively,
can I tell you guys
young.
A funny story, so YouTube doesn't flag us because we talked about pedophilia for 5 minutes. So Blaine hadn't like watched anything for him yet, and Blaine from Rooster Teeth is a big Dune fan, super excited for the movie. And then James and I were at a Target. Not just strong. We were in a Target and we were looking at the toys, and there was a Baron Harkonnen action figure.
There's toys?
I sent a picture to you, Patrick. It was alone on the shelf.
And that that Baron Harkonnen action figure has been sitting there for months. Anyway,
I saw the
I'm going to Target tonight.
It's by the TVs, right? Sort of in the back by the CDs
it's
and
so
printers.
Great.
Yeah.
I might have to go to Target tonight. I don't even like toys and collecting shit, but I might have to go buy that tonight and go self-checkout, of course.
And it's so funny that it's an action figure of this repulsive, like, predator villain.
So does it float?
Yeah.
Does it able to float?
I don't know if it has a hydraulic. That'd be cool though. But we see this like disgusting toy, and it's so funny that this is like being sold to children. And then so we take a picture and send it to Blaine, and then Blaine was like, "I hadn't actually seen him yet." And like so, like that was the reveal to Blaine of seeing how this character looked like. I don't know. I don't know if he watched the trailer.
I don't think he's. I think he's up close. I think it's just very.
I think he might just be trying to go in dark.
It's
missing out on an incredible trailer.
I actually will say the first trailer is way better to me. I thought the first trailer. Oh yeah, I thought the first trailer was way cooler.
But
and the second
one,
had that funky
kind of. The second one, I was more just like, yeah, this is a lot of shots from the first trailer with less cool music.
Oh,
yeah, that was my opinion.
I think the first one got the
space
ship.
I love the Pink Floyd in the first trailer.
What is in the weird egg ship?
It's the Septipods from Arrival. It's the Denis cinematic universe. Villeneuve-verse. Yeah.
And Harrison Ford.
When did aliens all become squids in movies? When did we decide that was?
They're not all squids. Some of them are fucked up guys.
They're like 90% squids now.
Is that Independence Day?
In the last, maybe since Independence Day, or even like maybe that was the first, and then afterwards. Yeah, it's like Lovecraft, and also I think I remember there was like an article or something about how octopuses are like. It makes more sense that they would have evolved on a different planet than on Earth.
Oh, they came here on me
or something.
Yeah. If they had longer lifespans, they would have.
But there's worms in Dune,
supposedly
not octopi.
No. Dune
you mean the
makers? I was just asking why the Shai-Hulud, of course.
Is Shai-Hulud one worm or is it all the worms? I forget.
I think Shai-Hulud is one worm.
I know it's a metal band from the 90s.
I think it's like a rare once in a lifetime type worm that I think it's like the big one.
Yeah, it's huge.
I don't think it's one worm though. I think I think maybe like a Fremen can once in their life see Shai-Hulud. It'll like it's like the once in a lifetime worm. It's the big catch. It's the big fish. That you're always looking for.
The 100-year wave that Patrick Swayze surfs in Point Break. Yeah, like if you can get your hooks and hook into this worm and ride it, that's like.
I think it'll be interesting if they do that in this movie, do the worm riding, because I think that's a tricky visual. Like something that could just look really bad,
really goofy,
real stupid.
Of course, effects are amazing these days, so it could be cool. But that's something that could just look really bad, like poorly lit green screen or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to me,
tie back to the trailer, there's that shot where Leah
the hooks come out,
pulls out her hooks, all cool. But I think that's actually one really great change. Change it from like a white man to a black lady is cast. And that makes so much more sense that a person that looks like that could infiltrate. Spoilers. Could like go into the society of the Fremen, than just some like random white dude that the Emperor sent. Just people would look at this guy showing him. It's like the Emperor sent me. They'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here, guy." I don't know. It just seems like that kind of person could infiltrate this society and convince them of the things that she does.
On the subject of the worm riding, I know we see it in the trailer, like the big battle that's happening. And I think like one of the coolest things about those Fremen is that like they use the worms to travel kind of under sand and like surprise their enemies in battle, which would be like such a cool thing to see in a big combat scene. So I know what you're saying, like it could look janky, but I hope for that because it's so specific to them that's their like they're the one fighting strategy that they have like developed because they can harness that. I think is like so cool not to see on screen.
I think from what I've seen in the trailer, I feel like they're really going to lean into the scale like that. Yeah. The end of the first trailer, when you see the mouth of the worm, it's like it's just this
skyscraper
really,
or something.
Yeah, it's I think like if there may be like writing, but I don't think you'll get like a really good look at it unless it's like from very far away. Otherwise, it might just look like this moving, undulating surface. That's what I think. I feel like Denis not going to like compromise the like visual aesthetic of the movie just to show something that like is like, oh, remember from the book, and that's what he sounds like.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I hope that it's not. I mean, it on one level it basically has to be, but just like a CGI sludge fest of, you know, like
just like gray particles flying around,
like the end of every Marvel movie where it's just kind of like blurry sludges flying at each other, and it's okay, yeah, great,
yeah. Let's see the action.
But
I'm sure there's going to be battle scenes where you can't tell what's going on.
Yeah,
they just have to put that in a movie like this.
Yeah, and I think in some ways the scale of the movie, you have to show big sweeping. But again, like Lord of the Rings was able to do that in a way that looked cool with CGI. That they invented CGI to make it look good and convincing.
In the battle scenes of Lord of the Rings, you know exactly where everyone is. You know exactly what's going on. Helm's Deep,
perfect.
Best night battle ever of all time. That's what we should be talking about this podcast. I hate Dune. I hate Dune.
No.
Oh no.
Okay, well, I don't. But we do need to take a word from our sponsor, so we'll be right back. It gets extra boring to eat the same meal over and over again, but coming up with something new, running to the store, frantically finding all the ingredients is a lot of hassle. But you can simplify discovering new dishes thanks to HelloFresh. HelloFresh sends you fresh, pre-measured ingredients for delicious recipes, so you can skip the searching, the seasoning aisle. They alphabetize them? I don't even know. And get right to making dinner. HelloFresh gives you tons of variety with more than 50 weekly recipes. 50? I don't think I make 50 original recipes in a year. In all kinds of flavors, cuisines, and ingredients, so you'll always be trying something new. I've gotten HelloFresh in the past, and it is easy. You come home, you find all your ingredients are there. You don't buy more than you're going to use, like especially if you're making a meal that has an ingredient that you would never use for anything else. HelloFresh gives you just the right amount that you need. It's great. And it's 28% cheaper than the grocery store anyway. So you can have quality, healthy food and save money without even leaving the house. So go to hellofresh.com/filmhouse14 and use code filmhouse14, that's FILMHAUS 14, for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping. That's up to 14 free meals at hellofresh.com/filmhouse14 and code filmhouse14. And we're back. No, I don't hate Dune. I'm actually like really excited.
Talk about the Helm Hammerhand anime.
Oh my gosh. So not to divert from Dune, but somebody was actually asking me like yesterday, like, are you excited for that Lord of the Rings anime? Because like my little Lord of the Rings group, they announced the anime, I went to my little Lord of the Rings chat and I was like, yeah, and they were all like, no. But to me, it's about the Rohirrim. It's about like kind of like the history of Helm's Deep, like positioning a show about like the lore of a fortress is so cool. And also I feel like, oh, Charlotte's leaving. And also I feel like
Deep talk.
If this show is anything like the like Castlevania anime on Netflix, like, yeah, it's going to be so rad. It's going to be so good.
I think
it's a cool
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think it's a cool idea too, because it's like a character that people aren't super passionate about. So there isn't as much like baggage behind it. Like if you were to make an Aragorn series, people would fucking hate it.
Yeah.
It would be like a disaster, even if it was good. I think people would, because there's just too much baggage there. But this is a character who's like, most people just know by name, but there is like a substantial amount of lore behind it, but it's also not enough to where they can't, like inject stuff and make it cool. I think it's going to be awesome.
I'm pretty excited about the stuff that Amazon tries, because I do think like the we're getting way off topic here, but like the whole mythology
so far off
of the rings and Tolkien's universe, I think it works perfectly for some sort of anthology show where you have a season in this place, a season in that, and you can tell there's so many really cool stories that they can tell. But having one show that has to have the same characters for 6 seasons, I don't see that working at all.
Yeah.
But being able to jump around and tell all the different cool stories that he came up with would be a great, way to combine live action and anime and all that stuff and have a bunch of really cool stuff. It's there. They can make really neat stuff. He's already written it all.
Yeah. And then make those cool connections and payoffs ultimately between them.
So to bump us back into Dune, and it's something similar to Tolkien. It's like that book, it throws you at the very start, just throws you in the middle of this universe and does not explain shit to you. Like there's a lot of things that happen right before this that are important, like with Liet Kynes or Keynes or however you say it, and the Emperor and the Harkonnens. There's so much stuff that happens right before the story happens. It doesn't explain any of it to you. And I think that's going to be really hard for a general audience to go into a sci-fi movie where they don't, Lord of the Rings had that narration at the beginning where it explains what happens that was not in that book either. So I'm kind of curious if like this movie also starts with like montage-y, telling us what had just happened, so we as the audience can be caught up. Because that's actually something I really liked about the book is it doesn't hold your hand. It throws you right in the middle of shit, starts throwing proper nouns at you, and you have to keep up.
Yep.
But I see the, Warner Brothers maybe not being okay with just, throwing the audience in the deep end in this $300 million movie.
Warner Brothers was more than happy to throw everyone in Cloud Atlas.
Which did
completely
spectacular at the box offices. And
I'm not saying it as a point of honor for that movie that's a good thing. I'm just saying maybe they will be a little more hesitant to.
Is Cloud Atlas Warner Brothers?
Pretty sure it is. It's the Wachowskis.
Because I don't remember seeing any of them in Space Jam Legacy.
Oh, and that is the true, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh no!
But
George.
One thing Cloud Atlas did was, they definitely changed the story a lot with Cloud Atlas.
A lot,
They're jumping from story to story to story to story, constantly to draw all these thematic parallels between them. That you had to wait 80 pages to get to the next story in Cloud Atlas.
The author was like, "Oh my god! I can't believe they did that. It was amazing."
Well, that's something you couldn't do in a book, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been really disorienting in the book.
It would have been hard to follow those stories.
That said, I think that the world, once they set up enough stuff, will be fairly straightforward on screen. We'll just have to glean people's motivations and histories, I think, from the way they portray the characters and the way the characters interact with each other. But I think, just the book doesn't really, for most of it, concern itself with what's happening off Arrakis, aside from, the odd scene every now and then. I think if the movie keeps in that similar path, that it'll be, fairly straightforward. I do hope they do a better job.
Are they going to start dating after this?
She's got Tom Holland now, but
but after
you could probably swap them out. Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah, is he British?
She's in Space Jam.
What?
So much just happened.
Zendaya is in Space Jam.
I watched it.
What? She Mary Jane
and she's Lola Bunny.
Oh,
sorry. Forget Space Jam: A New Legacy.
In theaters now.
Some changes that Villeneuve has talked about that are happening in the book is he's expanding the role of Lady Jessica.
Which is good. She's a great character.
Yeah, and I guess the female representation, obviously, in the book and past adaptations has been a little lacking. And he said she's even more fearsome than before.
She's pretty.
Which sounds cool.
She's a big part of that book.
Big part of, but maybe the second part. So that maybe that's why it feels like I'm getting a lot more Lady Jessica, or the second half of the book, I should say.
But she's a big part, but she's definitely a secondary character, and she's kind of a character that she's one of the ones that sort of shows up at maybe she has pivotal scenes or whatever, but she's not present throughout. But when she is there, it's important that she's there.
It's also
she shows up when her plot points happen.
Yeah, and it's all in service of developing the characters of Duke Leto and Paul, and then other characters later on. Well, so I guess,
I think I'm going to try to try and not talk about spoilers wise, but she does make decisions that completely I don't know how to say this, but what she makes choices that kind of create the entire problem with
the
most
whole
of the
book.
story.
Yeah.
And that's
so she's a
that's
huge
Catelyn
point.
Stark, right?
Yeah,
That's
well-
let's take this woman and then have her like ruin everything. So hopefully,
Well,
hopefully
she
they
makes
don't
like
do
a-
that.
She makes a selfish choice that like impacts the universe or the galaxy
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yep.
I'm excited about it. I think there's few movies I've been this stoked for, and I think the last one might have been his Blade Runner movie. Like there's not a lot of things that get me like super hyped, and you know, you drop a trailer and I watch it 10 times, but this is one of those things that I'm super excited for. And you know, I love the book, not enough to go and read 20 more Dune books, because from my understanding is they get really strange. But
Yeah, I haven't.
I don't know, it's one of those things, and I think once you see it, we were talking earlier about its influence on other science fiction, and I think you can see it everywhere, including Star Wars. I think there's a lot of Dune in Star Wars. I think
Star Wars is almost, and I love Star Wars. I don't want to
Same.
sound like I'm talking shit on Star Wars, but
No, yeah, you're a
is
big
sort
Last
of-
Jedi fan.
it's like it is sort of a simplified Dune
yeah, absolutely.
in a lot of ways. It's like a simplified, and maybe like it's more about just being purely entertaining and fun than Dune is.
Dune is not about
that's a-
being entertaining.
That's a good
Well,
thing.
it's not about
No, but
No,
please
no.
go see it. But please go see it. Please
Yeah.
see this not
No,
very
it's like-
entertaining, unfun
it's like
movie.
it's like the successful at the box office version of Dune.
So,
Yeah.
something that's like crucial to the entire universe of Dune that I think is kind of interesting is spice, and that
Mhm.
essentially, like, when did this come out? Like the late 60s, Dune. Like
65.
my
Yeah.
reading of it is that it's drugs will open your mind and save the universe, and I think that's kind of a. And tell me if y'all are reading it differently than me, but like that's a pretty out there statement for something that's going to be in a $300 million film, that like these drugs are getting addicted to this shit will save the universe. This will help you transverse the stars, and I guess it's also sort of oil a little bit.
Yeah, I guess my interpretation was always like war for resources, and like environmental degradation, and like what drives humanity to like fight for these things to the cost of like other people's lives, and like, but I like the drug thing more.
Well,
I think it's
the
both.
spice.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't know if this is hard to remember what's a spoiler or not, but like the people that are charting the distances through space have to do spice to be able to chart the stars, because they got rid of the smart robots. So like this one planet is the only place in the entire universe that has this drug that allows you to travel the stars.
Are those the men?
It's pretty.
No, that
Mentats?
is it.
Okay.
Is that what they're
The
called?
Mentat.
Through
The
fear.
Mentat?
No. Mentats are something else.
But they're like,
Mentats are like trained in a special way that they cannot break their loyalty to whichever house they're sworn to. So I don't know if it's the same, but
They're very
there's-
smart.
they can do like long division.
They can do
Yeah,
long
exactly.
division. They
But,
know how to
like,
carry.
the other one
axe.
is it Navigators Guild?
Yeah, the giant
Yes.
But they're, like,
creatures, the
not
I don't know if
freaky,
you-
freaky
humans.
boys.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I
and they-
remember
yeah.
what they look.
In that Lynch movie, they rolled him out in a tank, right? And it's like a
Yes,
giant, gross
yeah.
freak thing.
I
Which
think they
hopefully-
are technically supposed to be not humans. Maybe not like what the Lynch version looks like, but
Oh.
I don't
So they're
think
aliens?
No, I think they're. I don't think there's.
Are they?
I think they're humans, but maybe they're changed so much by the spice.
Too much spice.
Yeah.
Could be.
Question-
Could be.
Question for you all, like, because you all are so familiar with the source material, like, what could the movie do to surprise you?
Be good.
I
Oh.
I feel like well, I think I have a lot of faith in it. So much so that I will be disappointed if it's not good. But I think the aesthetics didn't really match what I was expecting. Is that
Same.
it's got like when I'm reading it, it's got a more like they talk about House Atreides, and it's got like a more like older kind of like palatial like drama feel to it, and there's sort of a rustic
Sort of
feel to-
medieval.
Yeah,
Medieval,
people are on
yeah.
robes and stuff.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
feels a
yeah,
little
for
bit
sure.
more
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more rustic and analog in my mind, the way I picture it. And as soon as I saw the first trailer, I was like, oh, it's very much sci-fi. I mean, it's like a very like realistic, toned down, but also turned up at the same time sort of take on it. And especially with like the legions of like Harkonnen troops, because that's not something that I really think about when I'm reading the book.
Brutal.
It's so like, well, yeah, you've got what do they call the Sardaukar? The like emperor's like fighters.
Yeah.
But like when I'm reading the book, I'm not picturing like this huge, like enormous armies clashing. And that's clearly there's some scale of that. So I think maybe I'm not going to be surprised because maybe I'm expecting that now. But I think aesthetically, there's going to be a lot of adjustments that I'm going to have to make in my mind when I'm watching.
I am talking about aesthetics. I'm excited. I think, at least from the couple of glimpses you get of like the Harkonnen planet, they went with the H.R. Giger stuff, at least influentially.
Yeah.
Like, with the, I think it was Jodorowsky's Dune, they had Giger, the guy that created all the alien
the concepts.
Did a lot of concepts for that Jodorowsky version that never got made. But it looks like they used some of that, and I think that's great, because it looks pretty creepy. They've got all those people upside down, which I'm guessing they're going to sacrifice them all, which is something I don't remember from the story, but that shit looks pretty cool. Like dark, like in a scary way, which I think is kind of hard to pull off, to actually be kind of terrifying. Because like the Empire in Star Wars isn't like necessarily scary at all, but these people look pretty freaky.
If you're bad, we'll keep you in a roomy prison cell for actually a pretty long we'll blow up your planet. Though I guess we will blow up your planet.
That's a little scary.
You're going to be fine.
I'm looking forward to Dave Bautista in this, because I think that Dave Bautista like does pretty excellent acting and work when he's in an ensemble. But the last couple things I've seen him in, he's been tasked with carrying it. And I'm like, I don't think that's his forte. But him as this like little incision, really intimidating, scary guy named, his name's Beast. Like, I think he's going to be really good in this.
Yeah, he looks pretty freaky. And that character's pretty fucked up from what I remember.
Very much so.
Like, it's like what was the Saddam's son is what it reminds me of. It's like Uday Hussein or something like that. It's just like a lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
Does it give you all any faith?
The cast in this movie is so crazy.
I guess we didn't really talk about it. It's an amazing.
Yeah.
Like Josh Brolin,
Javier Bardem,
Gurney Halleck, Javier Bardem,
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah. You know, at first I was like, Oscar Isaac isn't old enough to play the Duke, but he'll be good. He's so good in everything.
Well,
Stilgar.
How old is Oscar Isaac?
A lot of people.
Again, it's one of those things where it's like matching it to your mental image of a character.
Exactly.
It's like I had this old man in my head.
Well, he's 42, and Cody, do you have a picture of Oscar Isaac in Dune?
Please give us a picture of Oscar Isaac in Dune.
There he is.
And that's natural gray, baby.
Gray. Oh yeah,
is it natural gray?
I think so. I think it is.
They might have grayed him up a little.
What I really want is a flashback of his father dying. I don't know, for anyone that's read the book that remembers that part.
I don't remember that.
It's like,
sorry.
I think I do remember, because it's like it's part of the palace. It's like on display.
Again, that's that lore that's in like one paragraph.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin it.
They just blow by.
I think the
like
way that stuff would be incorporated in I'm a huge fan of tiny little I don't know if it's environmental storytelling, but the one example I always have for it is there's a cool scene in The Road Warrior where the Lord Humongous opens up his gun case, and this is just a huge guy in a ski mask and bondage gear, and that's all you ever know about him. But there's a scene where he opens up his little gun case, and there's a photo of him in like military uniform with his wife and kid, and you see it for half a second, and it's like that.
That's
I love that type of.
That's production design. I love attention to detail.
That type. Yeah, exactly. Like character development, where it's just if you miss it, it's fine, and you're not really like. But if you are paying attention, it adds like such a cool little layer to it that it's just nothing's ever spoken. You know, I think that could be like those little details.
Showing and not telling us.
So I have a question for Charlotte. Who, when you're reading Dune, who do you picture as the Emperor? Because I'm pretty sure in this movie they haven't cast the Emperor yet, because he doesn't really show up till the end.
Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, yeah.
That's neat.
She's the queen of showing up at the end and everyone being like, oh, it's Sigourney Weaver.
That's why I thought.
Charlotte, do you have that cast in your head? Or I don't know how you read stories.
I usually I don't really put like an image to them while I'm reading it, but once I do, and then I go back to the book, I picture them while I'm reading. So like, I was reading the book before the trailer came out, and I never pictured Paul as Timothée Chalamet, but now I do.
Definitely not. Yeah.
And so now, I'm thinking, I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who played Littlefinger.
Okay.
From Game of Thrones. Yeah, I don't know.
He's in The Wire.
Yeah, he's kind of like
Parsetti.
Sort of like menacing, but pretty, white bread.
Not physically threatening.
Not physically threatening,
right.
but has like an air of malice about him that it's like, oh, you're like a bad guy, but you're very poised and very well spoken. So that's kind of what I pictured. But I
remember in that Jodorowsky's they cast Dali, and I was like, that's actually like pretty great casting for.
That's pretty. That's wild. So I wish at least that scene would have been shot. Yeah.
That would have been
cool. I'm looking. I searched Padishah Emperor in Google, and there's a YouTube thumbnail with a photo of Mads Mikkelsen. What do we think about that?
That's good.
I like Mads.
He's
actually very threatening. That might be too.
That seems like very obvious casting.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
It's a little too obvious.
Me.
I really liked him in Rogue One. So I feel like I would like if I did see him in Dune, I'd want to see him as like the Duke or like Gurney Halleck or something. Oh, he is really somebody like magnanimous and like.
What's
Johnny
the other dude
Texas
from Rogue One? the guy in all white.
Ben Mendelsohn?
Yeah. Ben Mendelsohn. That guy is fucking awesome.
Let's oh my gosh, you guys. I watched Vertical Limit. Do you guys remember Vertical Limit?
The climbing movie?
The extreme climbing movie.
Of course.
I watched it. I had seen it when I was maybe, 14. And then I watched it for the first time in like over 20 years. And Ben Mendelsohn is in that movie. And he's like 20 years old or whatever.
Cool.
And I was watching it with a friend of mine. And I like halfway through, I'm like, is that Ben Mendelsohn? And she's like, if that is, she's like, I don't even know what to say, because she's like, we've been watching this movie and there's no sign that that's Ben Mendelsohn. And I'm like, and it was. Yeah. I can't even. It was.
I'm gonna have to go look that up.
It was wild.
Let's get
the only thing I remember about.
Let's get Udo Kier in there, huh?
The only thing I remember about Vertical Limit is that like a dozen people risk their lives to save one person's life.
That's the problem with it. That's the
it's problem. Like all these people died to save this one guy's
More
sister.
people die than they save. It's like what? Yeah, and her and I, we were watching it and we're like, wait a minute, the body count doesn't add up for.
Yeah,
but
it's no cliffhanger.
Yeah, so hopefully we get Vertical Limit 2, and hopefully we get a second Dune, because we deserve both of these movies. And I don't know if it instills us with any confidence that there's a prequel series coming to HBO, Dune: The Sisterhood.
About the
is that about the Bene Gesserit?
Yeah,
fascinating.
That's in the works.
A lot of the lore just comes from there.
So yeah,
I'm doing their thing. Can we do one more cast before the end,
please?
Because I don't think Fayed Rutha has been cast either, and he's supposed to be like the perfect man. So I don't know if anyone's got an idea of who the perfect man is.
The first person I thought of is Too Charming.
I'm available.
Yeah, I guess Patrick is Too Charming is who I thought of.
Can you wear the codpiece?
Oh yeah, I have one.
Perfect man.
Oh, you've already got your.
I've already got one. Yeah, I've got plenty of cod pieces.
Tom Hanks.
I'm gonna say Chet Hanks as well. Yeah. Big ups. I'm gonna say big ups to the Arrakis.
Big Sam Boy
Mike Myers. Summer. Mike Myers, but they de-age him digitally.
Says who's America's dad?
I think
America's dad.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson would be great. I was thinking maybe
that would be a. Is Robert Pattinson in there? That seems like a shame that they didn't get him in here.
You know,
I was just thinking other people that are like Timothée Chalamet's.
I think he could have been Paul. I don't 8 years ago.
I think he's older, but like Lakeith Stanfield is always awesome.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Like, who's he again?
He's Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah.
This guy. Yeah.
Everything else.
He rocks.
He's always good.
Very good. No, that's a good question. Yeah. My first thought was it's so
Riverdale
wrong,
cast.
But, Cole Sprouse would be really funny.
Just
but
anyone from Supergirl or
what's his name?
whatever,
Billy
Superwoman, whatever that show is.
Magnuson from Made for Love, and
Oh,
yeah.
but he's so
That is a
goofy
Nordic-looking
and,
man.
He is very Nordic-looking man. But he
Oh,
would
yeah.
he has that dumb grin, so he
A
would be really
Skarsgård.
like,
How about a Skarsgård?
Oh, Bill,
that
maybe.
works.
Or
Oh,
Alex.
Alex.
They are
That's
sure.
Harkonnen. That works. What about, is there
Yeah.
like another rock star, like Sting-like kind of
Mick
person?
Jagger.
Oh yeah, get like
We
an
could get
ancient.
some new blood in there.
Yeah.
Could you gender flip? Do Billie Eilish?
Yeah?
The perfect woman.
I don't know if that's the right one, but I'm down to gender flip it. But I don't know if Billie
She
Eilish
is the
works.
bad guy, so it's right there in front of us.
Oh, true.
Dua Lipa.
She's too short.
Dua Lipa and DaBaby, perhaps.
Guys, there's a 3 Men and a Baby reboot that is being worked on as we speak,
That
and no
will
one's
never
talking
come out.
about it.
It's
Because it will
Javier
never come out.
Bardem, Josh Brolin,
That will never
and
get out of
Jason
this
Momoa.
scripting stage.
It's Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Javier Bardem, and the third guy that looks like them.
Who's the
Who
baby?
plays the Steve Gutenberg role?
Bobby
Steve
Cannavale.
Gutenberg.
Oh wait, is it not Steve Gutenberg? Is it?
If they're not
who is
bringing
it?
back Steve Gutenberg to play
No.
Steve Gutenberg,
They
then I
should
I'm
do
saying-
don't know.
I'm saying who plays that role?
Yeah, bring him back.
Bring
That's
him
what I'm
back.
saying.
Bring him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just Steve Gutenberg. Okay, yeah.
It's
No,
just
I'm
Bring
down.
him home.
I think
Bring
they
him
should
home.
do like an iCarly type continuation, and it's 3 men and an adult,
Oh,
and you
3
just
men
bring
and a
back the
grand
original
little
cast.
lady.
My Three
Yeah.
Dads.
My Three Dads.
Is that
Yeah.
a sitcom? I vaguely remember that.
It probably is.
Some-
Everything's been
yeah.
a sitcom. It lasts for one season on CBS, and no one's seen it.
I mean
Time to
that's
wrap
what
it up.
Full House is. Right? Okay.
And that's
well,
the show.
thank you all for joining and for agreeing to take one friend with you to see Dune, who will take a friend to see with them to see
Yeah,
Dune.
and bring some
Can I-
Avon products if you could.
Yeah.
Can I bring up
if
one
you can
more thing?
afford it, just buy the theater. Yeah.
Sorry, the October 22nd, the day Dune comes out. Also, Jackass comes out.
What?
Oh no.
It's
Now I
against
gotta
big stuff.
pick.
What else comes out? There's like a
Wes
crazy amount of
Anderson's
movie.
new
The
movie
French
comes
Dispatch
out.
comes
The
out,
French Dispatch.
and then Edgar Wright's
What?
movie that I can never remember, like One Night in Soho. So it's like a crazy
Seriously?
movie release day. It's like
Yeah.
everyone. Well, Funhaus should just take the day off and just go to the movies. I think.
I have to see Jackass on that
Yeah,
day. I
Jackass
can't
is a
not see
must.
Jackass. I've
Spoilers.
seen
All
I've
spoilers.
seen
I have
Jackass.
to see Jackass.
I have seen Jackass in the theater since the very first one, and it is hands down the best in theater experience.
I've never
Yeah.
seen one in
Available.
theaters.
It is
Just a
unlike anything.
laugh
Like it
riot.
is so much. Yes, it's the
Oh.
best possible movie to see in the theater.
I want Fade Ralph that it be Johnny Knoxville.
That's
That works,
actually
yeah.
good.
I think Pontius actually.
Maybe Steve-O.
They should just
Uh,
recast Dune with Jackass.
That would be.
I'm in.
Wait, who's Bam?
Yeah.
I'm in.
the Baron.
Oh
Okay.
God, yeah.
He's the bad guy now.
Unfortunately,
Oh,
yeah.
I
Well,
wish I could. I
he's
wish I
off
could think of
Jackass.
some Harkonnen lines to say in Bam's stupid accent.
No, wait. Bam is Fade Routha, and Phil is the Baron Harkonnen. We're gonna wake up the Baron. We're gonna put a sandworm in his bed.
We're gonna put sandworm. Fucking that fucking accent. That is the worst accent in America. It is so bad.
Yeah. Oh man, they would always stop for like the skate parts, and it's like, all right, let's get somebody thrown off a building, like stat. Come
Need
on.
some hymn
Yep.
music.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I'm done
All right, well,
interrupting,
that's-
Elise. Sorry.
That's the show. Thanks for listening and watching. Next week, it will be a review of The Green Knight.
And be sure to
We're
check
gonna
out
have to see that.
Jackass Forever in theaters, October 22nd.
Yeah, 4 months from now.
I'm gonna go watch
Or
Jungle
what? No.
Cruise.
No.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
let's
no,
go
no,
see
no,
it.
no! Don't do that.
I'm gonna watch Jungle Cruise. It
People are
looks fun.
comparing it to The Mummy, Pirates of the Caribbean. Cody, you can just fade out.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna just keep going. with this.
Please, for God's sake.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.